Okie dokie, it is the 10th of August 2020, and it's quite a helter-skelter day today. What does that mean? Just so many weird things going on. Still waiting on my... Hi, Asher! Still waiting on my Corvette radiator. When's that going to come? I don't know. No, you get him! Go by Toady! Go by Toady! Ash! So anyway, it's, look at that. Oh, the cat was taking a crap.
Asher.
He's running like a... Okay, thanks. Bye, Asher. See ya!
Bye-bye.
See ya! See ya. Anyway, it's, hot and muggy did. Now I did one good thing is I mowed the whole yard, everything except for the paddock, and I don't consider that the yard. The paddock is well, you don't want to cut it too much because that's what the horses eat, right? So mowed underneath this or into this one here, into the round pin, and I hear thunder. We did get a little rain. The roof of the barn is wet. So I mowed the whole grass. That was item number one. Item number two was I had Holst Heating and Cooling over, HVAC over, and they installed a brand new furnace and air conditioning. Everything is upgraded. I've always used a 1 inch thick filter, air filter. This one uses like a 3-inch filter, 3 or 4 inches thick, 16 by 20, I believe it is. But I'll guarantee you those things are going to be like $30. Ooh, I'm going to lose a mud flap here. Check this out. I better screw that in. You don't want to lose that. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's starting to thunder. So we really badly need the rain. We did get a little bit of rain this morning, maybe about 5 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, 4 or 5. Heard some thunder, and it rained a little bit, quit, and then this afternoon, maybe at what time was it? Maybe about 5:30 this afternoon. This evening it started raining a little bit again, just to muggy the situation up. It was really muggy. So the furnace that we had in the house was like 40 years old, and they should only last like what, 20 max, absolute maximum 20. Well, we've lived here for 21 years now. I gotta turn this thing down.
I ran out there one time because the kid was shaking, you know, no. Right. So just, I'll put the fingers down front.
And now it's replaced with a really nice one. So I figure another 15, 20 years. I'll be 80, 85, 86. Oh, and yeah. Oh, I did get a phone call from my mechanic for my 750 Honda Bobber. They said they turned it over. There wasn't any spark, so they had to get a new battery for it. And then they're, you know, I think it only has like one coil, so that shouldn't be that hard of a job. But at least it rolled over. So he kind of was wondering. He asked me, he says, when you bought the bike, was it running? I said, no. The last time it ran was like 20 years ago. So they're working on that. I've been working on doing a lot of thinking on that the Vette thing. Pretty happy where I'm at yet, but again, I'm still waiting for the radiator. Once that's nailed down, then I can figure out what I'm going to do with the intake. I just don't know right now. Zane was thinking bringing it up front Other people are saying scoop it back and run it along the throttle body, manifold, I don't know. So that's not a big deal. Another thing I did talk about last week was I was working on these exhaust system for the bobber. This opening was all beat up and bent, so I pounded that relatively round. I am going to paint this thing with I don't know what to use. It has to stick to that chrome, which I sanded, you know, but is that going to work? I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll just use, you know, by the time it gets this, well, it's still pretty hot. It still needs to be a kind of a heat-resistant paint. So I'll have to do some research. I'll do some research because I'd like to paint it black. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap that stupid thing all the way down the end, which I really don't want to do. I'd like to wrap I'm stuck here. I'd like to wrap the pipes that go into the 2-to-1 pipe. I'd like to paint that, but I don't know. So I'm going to try something quickly. This might be prove to be a absolute fail, but I'll try anything. So I did beat that one around a pipe, and it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way that one looks. Now the other one, let's do that quickly a minute. I should wear some earplugs. Let me get some earplugs in my head. In my head. Zombie. So, what do I know about tin knocking? I don't know much, but it all makes sense. I mean, if you got an anvil and a hammer, you should be able to beat anything into any shape, right? So I got this pipe here. I welded this big block of scrap on here years ago, and I used that to pound pipe into the ground, you know, for fences and stuff. Can you see me? Let me take a look. Oh, that's not too bad. There. So, this is what it looks like. I can't make it that much worse, could I? I don't know. Let's see. Smells like exhaust. So I think it looks pretty good. So try to remember what it looked like. Well, this area right here is all dented in. This side. Just look at, you know, scroll back. I got to see another spot right here. Needs to be bounced out a little bit. go back to what it looked before, that's pretty good. Good enough. Ugh. I don't think it's going to deaden it at all, but apparently it does. It'll give it a deeper sound because without these, it'll sound like a chainsaw. Rack, rack. This thing, it'll bring the sound a lot tighter. That make any sense? So let me set this down and there they are. So I'm really hoping for rain. Get these plugs out of my ears. I'm really hoping for rain because we're dry. Oh, lightning, yes. We're really, really dry. It was blazingly hot. Now when I say blazingly hot, it felt hotter than what the temperature really was. So, hey, sits nicely. So right now, at 7 o'clock, we're at all intents and purposes, 7 o'clock. Hear it? It's 81 degrees at 7 o'clock p.m. Wow, it says, check this out, guys. Hopefully you can see that. Hang on. So, what it says is at 7 p.m., which we got one more minute, it's thunder showers and lightning all the way till all the way through most of the night. How about that? What's it doing in St. Pete? It's at 88 degrees. We had a high of like 80. All right, see ya. Hey, Mike. All right, bruh. What is that? Oh, okay. I believe it was like 88 degrees, and we had these guys from holes, 3 and 4 guys that would come and go and install that furnace and air conditioning. Did a really good job. I mean, I thought they finished it quicker than it would take. Not bad. Obviously, it was warm enough. The sun was blazing. It was warm enough to work with the fans because, honestly, I was sweating my butt off. What is that? Oh, I see. It's a reflection. Anyway, so that's really all I did. I was dreaming on riding this bike. Oh, shoot. Left the gas on. Oh, no, it's off. I was planning on riding this bike today. Yesterday I was planning on riding the bike. But today, these guys were here at 7:30 this morning. They were supposed to be here at 8, so I hurried up and got the horses out and cleaned the stalls. And fed them, and also stocked the stalls with water and hay. So all Cassie's got to do is just let them in and give them grain. Easy peasy, bruh. Easy peasy. So I did enough. I also was told them guys I wanted the sheet metal. So they left the sheet metal here. And what I'm going to use that for is galvanized. I'm going to build a grain bin. A large grain bin that should hold 2 to 3 bags of grain. So it's anywhere from 100 to 150 pounds of grain with the top. And the inside is going to be totally lined with that galvanized. And I was thinking about soldering it, but I don't have a soldering gun anymore. I never did. But Keeler Brass, when I was a maintenance I used to do some tin knocking, and yeah, I would solder those things, and it totally sealed it up incredibly. Those things. I also have a break here, so I can cut out my sheet metal, break the corners, solder it, and drop it into the bin. I'm still thinking about doing that. I think it'd be a good idea to solder it. So that means I got to pick up a copper, what do you call them? Soldering gun or a soldering iron. The only thing is, how do I heat it up? So at Keeler Brass, we used a little dinky furnace out of natural gas, and I'll have to make a drawing of it. And it was cast iron, and you lined the inside with asbestos. It's probably asbestos fibers. So we packed that in there and light it up and put two soldering irons in there. Copper about this big around, about that long, and come to a four-sided point that we would grind at, you know. And then we used muriatic acid to break the galvanized steel. That muriatic acid would eat the galvanized and then expose the steel, and it also cleaned it too. And then we just run your bead of solder on there, and bada bing, bada boom. The thing worked fantastically. It would capillary attract into the seams. But I made a pan for Dave Voss, and he was in love with it. I have several of them over here someplace, but I'll be cow kicked if I can find it. But when I find it, I'll show you, and I'll explain exactly how I made it. That was when I was just a young chap, you know, in my 20s, like 22. Yeah, like 22 years old, just a young chap. I was good at soldering, welding, brazing. Did a lot of that, and that was, you know, before MIG welders. We had the guy by the name of Gerard Kreisbike. He was a MIG welder, but sometimes, you know, if you think about it, you can figure out things that even the journeyman couldn't figure out. It was a lot of fun. So it was kind of like a challenge, you know, young punk kid trying to outdo, and not really outdo, you know. I explained to him how I could solder 3/8 inch round stock. Onto that, I would braze. A small screen to that, so it's very, very thin. It's easy to burn that, but everything's got to be cherry red. And I kind of hid the flame. It's hard to explain. Hid the flame on the back side of the 3/8 round stock, and then I would sneak the flame around, just barely touch that screen, which would make it instantly red. And the minute that thing turned red, I would daub it with a piece, you know, I would hit the braze to it, which would cool everything down, of course. You know, if you melt something, that means it takes heat. So if something is melting, that means it's taking heat, so it's cooling. If you take heat away, it's cooling. It's a true story, though. Once you understand that concept, then you can figure stuff out. Same thing with flying. You know, people would say, you know, that wing shape, well, what does that mean? You know, but higher velocity air, the higher the velocity, the lower the pressure, the air pressure, the atmospheric pressure, air pressure. So if you make something go faster, you gotta wing. If you can make that air move faster on the top, that'd be less pressure on the top, then more pressure on the bottom, shoving it up. So how do you make a molecule go faster on one side of a wing than the other? I'll leave you with that thought. Just think about it, and then you can understand why when a plane moves forward, it tends to go up. It's really a simple concept once it's shown to you, but and everybody says, "Oh yeah, I know that." To that I say, hang on, I'll tell you what I say. I say baloney. I say baloney. Yeah. So anyway, hey, you know what? The battery container is still open here. Ugh. Strange thing, you know, I charged my battery. Oh yeah, I charged my battery. Then when I turned this camera on in the house, it said it was full charge. So I brought it out here, and it was sitting out here, you know, in the shop here for maybe, I know I'm jumping subjects, but who cares? Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. I went to turn it on, it was totally dead. So what's up with that? Thankfully, I had 2 batteries when I bought this camera. But how long have I had this camera? I don't know. I'll have to find out when I bought it. So this battery, and I typically just hung on to one battery, used one battery. The other one is the one that's in here right now. Works really, really well, and it's brand new. But I do have another 2 batteries, actually another camera just like this one, which comes with 2 batteries. So, get out of here. Anyway, that was my day-to-day. It was kind of, like I said, random. I can't remember how much I said about this, but these pipes and the whole bike was totally covered with grime and grease that was just baked hard, you know. Obviously, the pipes. This is an aftermarket, which is probably better than the original. I do have an original one right here. I'll point it out to you, right up here. That's completely original, but it's all full of holes. So I don't know. I'm going to try to salvage it. I don't know. Which is going to be some adding steel to it, and then bring it to some plating company and have it plated. That's what I'd like to do. Don't want to do that with this one here because I'd have to buff out all these pits and stuff. I'm just going to spray paint them or coat them with, you know, I'll spray paint them. I'll find some kind of paint, but it has to be a high heat and it has to be black. I'm not real picky. So, yeah, I cleaned them all up. It was a mess. Then I sanded it with, I think, like 60, wow, thunder, 60 grit paper. You know what? I got to get the lawnmower in here. Shut these things off here. Maybe unplug them. I can move them around. Don't ever do that, by the way. The Apple iPhones. I have one that apparently somebody yanked on the cord and not the, you know, the connector